Hello, everyone. My name is Kelly Ann Sue, and I would like to discuss with you today how we can decrease the veteran suicide rate in America. Veterans are people that fought for our freedom. Freedom is something that is expected from everyone in the United States. However, it is not free, it does come at a price. America has one of the most powerful militaries. And in order for us to have that powerful military, we have to thank the hundreds of men and women that sacrifice their time and their service in order for us to enjoy the freedoms that we do now. However, when these men and women enter back into the civilian sector, sometimes it's extremely hard for them to adjust back to civilian work. This can be caused due to a number of things. However, from my research, I've realized that the main reason why military people have such a hard time transitioning back into the civilian world is lack of training. And I will be discussing that with you today. If you guys look at the first slide, it shows the suicide rate for veterans by gender from 2001 to 2010. I'll be basing most of my research between the years 2001 and 2010 because that is where the most information about the veteran suicide rate is actually located, I guess you could say. Okay, back to the chart. Now, if you guys look at the chart, you can see that the female suicide rate is 3 times lower than the male suicide rate. On the male side, the highest rate was in 2001 with 43.1, and the lowest rate was in 2004 with 36.5. Now, if you look over at the female side, the highest rate was in 2008 with 15, and the lowest rate is in 2003 with 9.8. So, as you can already tell, males have a how would I explain this? Males, I guess they actually carry out their suicide rate a lot easier than women. Now, if you would pay attention to the second chart, it shows the mental health diagnosis with OEF and OIF and all veterans. Okay, for those of you guys who are not aware what OEF and OIF is, OEF is Operation Enduring Freedom. That is when we had the conflict with Afghanistan. OEF is Operation Iraqi Freedom. And as you can already tell, that's when we had the conflict with Iraq. Now, if you will look at this chart, you will see that the mental medical health of veterans is actually pretty bad. Now, every veteran handles it differently. Some rely on their families while others use coping mechanisms like alcohol and drugs. I guess it just depends on the type of person that you are. The VA has tried to implement solutions in order for us veterans, because I'm a veteran myself, to help actually with our transition. So the solution I'll be talking about is called GPS, or Goals, Plan, and Succeed. This is a week and a half program that is supposed to be used to help veterans transition from the military to the civilian world. They provide different topics such as entrepreneurship, resume writing, how to job interviews, dress for success, things like that, in order to help transitioning military members go from the military sector to the civilian sector. However, with all the topics that's offered, there's not enough time to cover everything. It When I went through the class, I almost felt like I was being rushed through the process. The information that they provide is amazing. I'm not going to lie about that. The information is very good. However, when I started doing my research about the veteran suicide rate and I started looking into the GPS class, I could not remember 90% of what I was told. And I believe it's because we are rushed through the class. It's kind of like a check in the box. Like, yes, they were taught this, but it's not enough time in order for us to understand exactly what it is that they're trying to teach us. I believe that the reason the veteran suicide rate is so high is because of lack of training when military members are transitioning from the military sector to the civilian world. I believe that this causes many people to have depression, anxiety, and a lot of other mental health issues. So I came up with some solutions, actually, three proposals. The first one is to extend the GPS program from 5 days to 30. Like I said before, the information that is offered in the GPS program is very good information, and it's things that we will need when we are transitioning from the civilian world, from the military sector to the civilian world. However, it's just not enough time for us to obtain the information. Next, I believe that each transitioning military member should be administered a mental test to ensure that they are mentally ready for the civilian world before transferring. I remember when I transferred from the military to the civilian world, I was prepared. I said, I am going to go into the civilian world. I am no longer going to be in the military. But once I got out, I realized how hard it is. You spend so much time focused on how you can be a good sailor in my example, because I was in the Navy, how you can be a good sailor, how you can help out the United States, what you need to do in order to advance. You never really think about what am I really going to do after the military. At least I didn't. So once I got out, I realized how much I depended on the military for everything, from the way I dressed to where I went. Everything was wrapped around the military. So I believe that mentally, the military takes a toll on many people. And administering this mental health will let you know exactly where you are and what you need to do. Last, when a mental problem is identified in a veteran or transitioning military member, make treatment mandatory. I really don't think I need to expand on that. Treatment should be mandatory for all military members if they have a mental health problem. Okay, I do have details to implement this solution. First, I have to create a 5 year plan because this is not going to be taken care of overnight. This is a serious problem, and you're not going to find a solution to solve this problem overnight. So, in my solution, I want to create a 5 year plan. One part of my 5 year plan is I actually want to offer an officer program for mental health specialists. There are many officer programs in the military, for those of you who are not fully aware of how the military works, that can train you to become different things that a civilian might be. So, a mental health specialist, I believe, is one of the things that we need to train our military members to be so that they can identify the problem before the member gets out. Next, I believe that they should extend the length of the GPS program, and I'm not going to get over this point at all. That GPS program is an amazing program, but it needs to be extended. The length of it needs to be extended to make sure all transition and military members do have the training that is required for them to become successful civilians. Next, every year I will offer a survey on whether the suicide rate in America has decreased. There's not a lot of information online. I believe that if we are going to do this, then we need to be honest and truthful about exactly what is going on with our veterans. It's almost like it's being hidden away. So, taking an accurate survey to find out exactly what is going on with the suicide rate will help us be honest and stay true to ourselves and stay true to the cause. But this is not a cause just for us. This is a cause for our veterans. So my last step is I would administer yearly surveys to our veterans to show the program effectiveness. At the end of the day, we need to make sure that the veterans are being helped from this program. Because if they're not, then we need to go ahead and go back to the drawing board and start over. Because we have to help our veterans. Okay, so on a personal note, I am going to share a story. I have a lot of personal stories about my friends who've been through a lot of mental health issues, and but I am not going to lie to you. I don't think I would be able to tell you guys that story and keep a straight face. So what I did was I did my research and I found a veteran by the name of, one second. I have all the mention. James Glover. So, like me, James Glover was in the Navy. James Glover was found with a letter in his pocket. He was found dead. James struggled to adjust after leaving the Navy in 2006. He lost his smile and turned into a completely different person. One day, he upped and left the house and never came back. His mother, brother, and sister-in-law spent days looking for him. When they found him, they realized that he had committed the most unspeakable act. He committed suicide. James was first diagnosed with depression in 2012. He had told a VA specialist that he was having problems sleeping and felt as if he had no future outside of the military. The doctor, the doctor gave him a prescription for an antidepressant. When that one didn't work, James went back to the hospital within a month and was given a different antidepressant. He said that it made him feel worse. So he went back to the hospital to get checked in because he was having thoughts. He told his sister-in-law that morning that he was having just thoughts, bad thoughts. And he wasn't sure what he was going to do, so he was going to go to the VA and actually check in. However, after speaking with the VA hospital, they gave him another prescription for another antidepressant and sent him home. When James was found, the letter that he had in his pocket read this: Dear Department of Veterans Affairs, I am a veteran writing this letter to let you know to pay attention to the veterans. To come back to the United States to see veterans homeless, addicts, or in jail is not a good feeling. It is hard to get back into life after the military. The job hunt, making up the time that you have lost, it's hard and depressing. And the only thing the VA gives me was pills, pills, pills. I refuse to live the rest of my life an addict and homeless. Basically, James was depressed, which is the main cause of veteran suicide, depression. I believe that if James had proper training, that he would be able to bounce back into the civilian world a lot easier than he did. These are real people. These are everyday people that fight for your freedom and my freedom. And I believe that we owe them the chance and the opportunity to be successful. Hi, like I said before, my name is Kelly Ann Sue. I am a United States veteran. When I first got out the Navy, I struggled with depression. I had a hard time figuring out what my next step was and still do. I decided to go to school because I have three beautiful children that depend on me every day. My husband and my mother, my father, they've all been a great help to me, but it's all internal. I was not trained properly on what I have to do next. And up to today, I'm still confused on my next step. I've been out the Navy for a year. And yeah, I went back to school. And I can proudly say, after this class, I have my bachelor's degree. But how many veterans can? I hope you guys would listen to what I'm saying and take it seriously because it is. Thank you for your attention.